with the WHO Radio Morning News. My name is Jeff Angelo. The White House has announced that the Israel-Lebanon ceasefire has been extended by 3 weeks. Now, the reason that is noteworthy is there's a dynamic going on in which what's going on in Lebanon between Israel and Hezbollah is actually affecting the U.S.-Iranian peace negotiations. And here to break it down for us is a leading Middle East analyst. Abdullah Hayek is on the Davison Family Dentistry Newsmaker line. Abdullah, welcome to WHO Radio. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about this. Let's connect the dots, Abdullah, about how is the negotiations between Lebanon and Israel affecting the U.S. and the Iran negotiations?
You're spot on. This, first of all, it's important to know that the Lebanon negotiations have been overlooked by the media that focus more on Iran. But the war started on February 28th, and it took a ceasefire on April 8th. Now, for the U.S. demands, it was opening the strait, halting the hostilities against U.S. targets in the region. For the Iranians, their main thing was to make sure that their main proxy, Hezbollah in Lebanon, was to be spared from the Israeli onslaught. Now, the reason that happened is because Hezbollah has been Iran's longest and oldest proxy. It was established in 1982. It was designed for the sole purpose of opening a land front against Israel, and it is very well armed, very well trained, and very well funded. So it is more sorts the crown jewel of Iran's asymmetrical empire, and they just really don't want it to be decimated, and that way they can give it more time with the ceasefire in Lebanon. But nonetheless, the Israelis just, a big part of their negotiations is that they do not want Hezbollah anymore in the picture. And we'll see where it goes. We have 3 weeks as of today.
Well, and Abdullah, what you're saying makes perfect sense to me, and you are absolutely right that the American media is not really focusing on that Iran is trying to negotiate with the U.S. and leave Hezbollah alone. And Israel's not going to tolerate that. The United States is not going to tolerate that. And am I right in saying that the attacks we're seeing by Iran in the Strait of Hormuz is really the only leverage that Iran has left? The president emphasizes a lot. President Trump emphasizes a lot that we've decimated Iran and their military. So is the Strait of Hormuz really the only leverage Iran's got left?
I wouldn't even say it's leverage anymore, Jeff, because if we're looking right now on the map and all the recent developments, everyone's just diversifying away from depending on the Strait of Hormuz as the main source, as the main strait for energy flows and methods of transportation. We have the Saudis trying to get their oil through their east-west pipeline to export it through the Red Sea. We have Turkey, Syria, Jordan, and Saudi Arabia massively moving forward and building up a railway. We have the Emiratis investing in a $2.3 billion railway that will connect to the Jordanian port of Aqaba. We have Egypt getting back on the line with, promoting their Suez Canal project and everything. So the strait right now is a bit of a leverage, but on the long run, and the day after this war, I think everyone's just going to diversify away from it.
I think that's a great point. I was even reading this morning, Abdullah, the Panama Canal is getting a lot of increased business these days. So the president, of course, is emphasizing the deal has to include a nuclear aspect to it. I think he succeeded in making sure that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon anytime soon. But what else does the president want when it comes to Iran's nuclear ambitions, Abdullah?
Well, I think the main priority for the president is that Iran doesn't get a nuclear weapon whatsoever. But in recent days, we've heard this back and forth in the media that there might be an okay for Iran to retain some sort of nuclear material. I personally highly doubt it because the U.S. position on that has not been finalized. It's important to note that. And what's even more important than that is that the Israelis will never accept that. And the Israelis have, for the second time in less than a year, pushed for this war and allowed for it to happen solely for the nuclear weapon, among many other things. And if we focus on the media as well, the Arab states, the Gulf states, during this war have rallied behind the U.S. to please finish the job. So no one in the region wants Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And I don't know why the media posted that Trump might be acceptable to retain. It was just ridiculous. And since the U.S. position has not been finalized, I strongly believe that the president will not bow down on that end at all.
I agree with you. That is excellent analysis and critical analysis this morning from leading Middle East expert Abdullah Hayek. Abdullah, thanks for taking the time this morning.